So, everybody is currently right now, because it's about 7:34 in the evening. I got dropped off by the bus about 4 minutes ago. But a lot of people, as of right now, potentially in the final hour, half hour of the live presentation of Monday Night Raw. And, because they are in the live version, or at least watching the live version, basically, everybody's kind of had a mixed reaction to it. And what I mean by mixed reaction is a lot of folks feel that there's something a little off about it. Like, it's kind of giving them very uncomfortable, familiar Vince McMahon vibes. And, honestly, I know people hear that and they're like, that's not a good sign. Could it be? They'll be wondering that. And I don't think it is. Because there are some that still feel like, hey, it's all right. It's decent. Yeah, it's got a few bumps in the road, but it's passable. And I think that's the one thing we got to look at with Monday Night Raw under the Triple H regime. Unlike Friday Night SmackDown, which it's also had its bumps. It's had its issues, if you will, here and there. To where people basically feel like, this is under par from what you would expect from a Triple H, if you will, and what he would bring to the table or so on. So Friday Night SmackDown is not immune to it either. And that's a fact. That is a fact. But, a lot of people feel that Triple H tonight is a little off. Now, they're not too sure if he's still there because he was out with COVID. And if he is there, if he's just a little off because he's just, recovering, from it. Like, he's gotten better. He's able to be there in person or in some kind of physical manifestation. If they're wondering, maybe that's kind of messed with him a little bit, how he presents the product. And it may have done that. But, when you're sick and everything, or you're just recovering from being sick, especially from COVID, you're going to be a little off. Like your mindset, your game plan is not going to be executed, the way you want it. Your mindset's not going to, go in the direction you want it to go in. So, yeah, there's no doubt that this Raw was probably going to be a little jaggery, if you will. It's going to be a little off in some areas. But I think there's also another reason, too. I also think there's another reason. And maybe it's just me, but honestly, I kind of tend to believe, in my opinion, my opinion, I tend to believe that perhaps, a lot of people, say that this is like a filler show, and that's how some of the shows have always felt, even under Vince McMahon going into Crown Jewel. But it seems more so, I guess, to some than ever before. That this is just a filler show. Nothing else. Nothing else. And that some of the other shows prior to that, and even with SmackDown to an extent, have felt that way. And I think it's maybe because of the fact that, despite some of the best efforts that Hunter has put out, him and his team put out, even when he's not there due to, being hit with the COVID, in his case, nobody's really felt like, it's a return to norm. It's a return to the disaster era that came prior. Nobody felt that way. But, I think we all have to admit that the reason maybe this edition of Raw feels a little off is not just because, Hunter is back and, he's recovering from his sickness, if you will, and everything. And so he's going to be a little off, period. But one has to wonder if maybe Hunter, deep down, really doesn't care for the crown jewel events as much as, let's say Vince did. Because, Vince, let's be honest, as much as we hate to admit it, Vince would put some effort into the shows leading into Crown Jewel more so than he would put into the shows that he needs to really build upon, like his Big 4 or his Big 5, and even his filler in your house style like pay-per-views in between. He would put more effort into the Crown Jewel stuff than any of those, including WrestleMania to an extent. So, so one has to wonder if maybe Hunter not putting so much effort into this Raw isn't because of the fact that it's 3 hours, isn't because he's just getting over, the freaking COVID, and this is potentially his first night back, or he's still kind of, directing things from home and Road Dogg or somebody else is running things. You have to wonder if maybe he himself, because here's the thing, notice that he'll put more effort into building up SummerSlam, or at least making SummerSlam turn out to be better than people expected it to be, and it was. He'll put more effort into what you're going to get at Clash of the Castle and Extreme Rules, which he did, and it paid off. People got, a decent show. Some clunker matches here and there, but they got a decent show overall, both times. So, you have to, wonder if maybe this is his way of basically sending a message to Vince of, but along the lines of, hey, Vince, no offense, old man, but I never really cared for this Saudi deal that you got going. I never really cared for it. And, just like you never gave two shits, excuse my language, God, two shits about building up your established pay-per-views stateside and even UK-wise. Since you didn't care much about them and just gave people filler to build up to them, I'm going to do the same thing with Crown Jewel. I'm going to make this a filler. And that's probably what we're getting, with Hunter. Not all the time, honestly, because there are certain matchups that are, intriguing to a lot of folks. There's no doubt about it. But, you really have to wonder and put into perspective, the possibility that that's what's going on here. That Hunter, maybe in his own way, him and his team in their own right, are kind of sending a message. Not a big message, but a message, nonetheless of along the lines of, hey, we don't really care about this Saudi crown jewel crap because we know it's wrong, but we can't get out of it until, a certain timeline, which is like, another several years, couple of years or something. So they're basically going to let their feelings be known. Look, the Saudi prince probably doesn't even watch Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown or anything. Let's be honest, he probably doesn't. So, probably knowing that, Hunter is just not giving, with some of the shows, he's giving effort because he wants to show change is here. Change is here, there's no doubt. But he's also basically sending that message of, yeah, I don't really give a damn about this Saudi crap because I'm more invested in our shows. What we bring to the table stateside, North America side, United Kingdom side and everything is, and all that. He's more invested in that kind of building up to for shows, for mega shows, than with, than for something for that, that basically is along the lines of the Saudi shows. Like the Saudi shows are literally beneath him in WWE in his mindset. But again, he realizes, along with probably Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, that there's no way they can get out of it. They know there's no way they can get out of it right now for the next several years, honestly. And that's the problem. But I think over time he is going to basically give minimal effort. Like every now and then he will give effort. He will show that change is here by giving us a great Raw, giving us a great SmackDown. But in between, he'll kind of like just say, just put this on there, do this, do that, and see what happens. Because there is reports that they are experimenting with different kinds of matchups at live events, and maybe that's what they were doing here at Raw. It's hard to say, but, still, he might be on the belief of, hey, let's just throw this crap together maybe the week prior to the show and kind of subtly send a message that we don't really care about this show as much as, as much as Vince did at one point. But again, that's just an opinion. It's just a speculated opinion on my part, and I'm sure others feel the same way, share the same sentiment. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Love to hear from each and every one of you as I try to unlock my phone here to turn off the recording, or the voice recording. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Super chat, super sticks are open in the live chat during the premiere. And super thanks afterwards. Check me out at BW Roast Discussion. How you feel? Audio podcast location except Pandora. Venmo at Brian-Roma-2. And Cash App at BW Roast 98. Patreon.com at BW Roast $1, $3 tier. And at the Teespring store as well. And until next time, guys, I will talk to you all later. But give me your thoughts on it. Do you think maybe Triple H is doing minimal effort once in a while just to kind of send a message that, quite frankly, he doesn't really care about this as much, as Vince did, and he's kind of giving his own, way of expressing it. Let me know down below, and I'll talk to you later.